Hi everyone, my name is Alyssa Molinas and this is my third and final video discussion board. This video discussion board revolves around the third culture kid, or TCK, given by Ruth. So Ruth was born in Nigeria, her father was born in Iran, and her mother was born in Chicago, and her siblings were both born in Portugal. The struggle of being a US citizen, but not in the United States, made Ruth struggle with identifying as an American teen. She described her idyllic childhood in Nigeria, and she felt a sense of belonging there, especially since everyone was diverse and all the friends that she had were each of different cultures. And when she was 13, she was to go home. However, home in the United States wasn't really home for her. It was in Nigeria. And when she was 13, she didn't know how to act like 13-year-olds did in the United States, and she found herself confused and trying to adapt to her new surroundings. When Ruth felt an understanding what a TCK was, it was helpful to her because she didn't feel like she was alone. She felt like there was a term for her, especially since it seemed so kind of foreign at the time. And being a TCK meant that she was able to be immersed in a diverse culture. However, since she grew up as a TCK during the developmental stage, she felt an invisible loss in grief. And she didn't realize this until she became an adult with a family of her own. So the 7 components that make up her new definition of the cross-culture kids. Keep in mind, a TCK, a third culture kid, is defined as a child that has a different culture than their parents. So the 7 components are minority, educational, refugee, immigrant, mixed race, bi/multicultural, and cross-culture kid. So her definition of cross-culture kid was a child who's interacted in the developmental age with people of different cultures in meaningful ways. And this is different because it talks more about the different ways that people can see as a different culture versus just putting the simple definition, my culture was different from my parents. This one identifies more of the separate categories. So 2 of the biggest challenges that CCK face is mainly having an unresolved grief and identity. So identity is a huge issue because a lot of times with CCKs, they have trouble answering the question, where are you from? Where do you belong? In reality, they feel like they belong somewhere else, but they live certain place in another place. So the identity issues come from the cross-cultural lifestyle. And according to Ruth, you keep switching the box that you belong in, whether you look and think differently or you look alike but think differently, etc. And this is especially common in immigrant children because people believe that they should be what they were before they immigrated. So that can cause a lot of issues, especially. So there are 3 common coping mechanisms that Ruth talks about. These coping mechanisms help them adapt as a CCK. One is to put away where they're from and they deny who they are in order to fit in. Some people try to be independent, but then they end up being someone they're not. And then some people stop trying and they just put it away. They don't mention it. They don't talk about it. Parents can help kids identify and cope by being aware of the consequences of this unsaid loss for their children, taking a minute to say, I understand. They can help normalize the story, identify when the loss is, redefine identity, and establish portable roots, things like that, to help their kids cope. I do not identify myself as a CCK. I was born here. My parents were born here. However, my grandparents immigrated to the United States from the Philippines. So, of course, my parents I experience is going to be different than mine. However, since they grew up in America, and so did I don't feel that I have um, really much of a difference. However, I do have very close friends who could relate to this video. I definitely see the parallels in their own lives and the video, so it's very interesting.